Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in politics since 1991. I mean in top Slovak politics. And I cannot remember so much nervousness and aggressiveness accumulated in the international community. From outbreaks of wars to trade wars to disrespect in international politics. The European Union, instead of playing an honest peacekeeping role and giving priority to diplomatic efforts, is subject to this nervousness and aggressiveness in equal measure. Any opinion different from the only correct one that is mandatory, pursued particularly by big players in the European Union, is immediately suppressed. All we have to do is to express, for instance, a different opinion about the President of Ukraine, or to refuse to give arms to Ukraine despite the fact that we are helping it in every other way, or to call the strategy of the European Commission to stop all energy supplies from Russia as economically damaging and undermining the EU's competitiveness. The reaction will come immediately. Most recently, Slovakia and Hungary have received a message from a particularly nervous new German Chancellor. In short, his message to us was, if you do not obey and you continue with your sovereign positions, if you do not support one single mandatory political opinion concerning Ukraine and the obligation to spread hatred against Russia, you will be punished. For example, by suspension of EU funds or withdrawal of voting rights. No one, ladies and gentlemen, in the European Union, no one in a peaceful and democratic project should have the right to treat other EU member states in this way, regardless of their size and economic strength. The strengths of the European Union lies in compromises, mutual respect, and the rejection of the dictates of the stronger against the weaker. Slovakia is not criticized today for a gross violation of human rights, the rule of law, or democracy. That is what had here in 2020-23, when we were in the opposition illegally arrested and accused, when the mouths of the free media were shut, when innocent people were dying in detention. Where were the great democracies and the European Union as a whole then? If they have no realistic response to the war in Ukraine today, which is a country has been the victim of the senseless prolongation of this military conflict, if the answer is only to build a new iron curtain between Europe and Russia, which even the United States does not want, they cannot continue in their nervousness by suppressing the sovereignty of individual member states on legitimate issues. Ladies and gentlemen, we may have to expect unprecedented decisions, such as, for example, the abolition of the right of veto of EU member states and its replacement by qualified majority voting. The time may indeed come when there will be punishments for having a sovereign opinion on EU competitiveness or the war in Ukraine. One thing I do know, however, for sure, and before that thing, I want to warn and take this opportunity to send my warning as far as possible. The imposition of a mandatory political opinion, the abolition of the veto, the punishment of the sovereign and the brave, the new Iron Curtain, the preference for war over peace, this is the end of the common European project. This is a departure from democracy. This is the precursor of a huge military conflict.